Sheena, do you want me to start? Sheena, do you want us to start?
Magizi and Dodam, Mississauga and Dunjaba. Good morning and welcome to the 38th Annual State of the Band Address. My name is Kelly Applegate, Commissioner of Natural Resources for the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe. Due to the global pandemic, this State of the Band Address is being presented virtually rather than in person. The safety of our community is our highest priority. On behalf of the elected and appointed band officials, I would like to say miigwech and welcome to the Mille Lacs Band members who are attending online. This State of the Band Address is being recorded and will be available for band members to view on YouTube. Those attending in person today are limited to elected and appointed officials, along with those who have a role in this presentation. We will begin today's event by recognizing Joseph Nakwanebi Sr. and George Morrow's ceremonial drum placed here today. At this time, I ask those present to please stand as you are able as our honorable flag bearers from the Mille Lacs All Veterans Group post the flags. Please help me welcome Quentin Sam, U.S. Marines, carrying the Mille Lacs Veterans Eagle Staff. Anthony Pike, U.S. Army, carrying the United States of America flag. Renee Piwash, U.S. Army, carrying the Mille Lacs Band tribal flag. And Jamie Short, U.S. Army, carrying the Prisoners of War Missing in Action flag. Miigwech, color guard and singers. We will now have a flag song. Miigwech singers and Miigwech color guard.
Order, arm. Belt, face.
At this time, Obazan A'al Makawa Dizid, Lee Staples, will provide the invocation so that we begin the State of the Band address in a good way.
Mima gia no ne goyana ha'aw sema. Da pagsa dragasat we kui diego we honored we kui do gan swingo ka kena we ma we pedago simona sin sam o ni sane tanawa iwa kuswen he ba ayamaka. Skeda shau kayet. Au gidu gimami gidu gimakwe me wa au mandaman. En au seiman. E nena mag biniske no widrinoki magana au. Babito gishigukwe. I muskena ana no. Indu pwaganan mi ma isa kawag. Skeda shau seima. Mi wete gene na basa de nabuwa de kena angyo. Manidug. In nantamandwa. The minose the ma we kuiding na go ge ma. The minose what and go. Be mu do to go nishana be bam suin ma. Squinny gunning ske me o mandaman. Na ge in the movie dong. Binish o was ka bewis. Nage o gimabines kinata nata maku sawada by winning but in the wing case wada then a bimu duata on shanabe bamas win Mamo chigawan madayamaka then the ministry wada schema gispan in a kwadiki it water kawin ma Nepwa, Tanakishi country nawa, ke nata makatown shanabe mas kuni gunning. Kedasha au sema, aundu pwagan gisa kawak migo wite, ne nabasata au manitu spimming ayad. Mima nanantamaka au manitu, tentrina ke target madan. The Natamagu Zigo Nishana Beoyang, the Nishana Beoyeg, the Namamino Sayeg, Kegugaye, the Namines Swego Nishana Beoyeg. We when I go, then I gonna win to Gasrieg. Kedaske of Sema Mikaema, Genina Basutta o. Manitu ma king na nau I mana na batabe mi ma ge geni na basata o sema. Ge win da penige. Binske engeo manitu wa kabi tangi gino. O manitu taki mi wite ge. Ge nekata o sema ske wite. Wabanong ikanwata pe a manitu. Mi wite ge nekato sema binaske wite. Savanonge wite ge asara au manitu mi wite. When rinake to what anatomo no den shana beman binaske wite nekabi nong mi ge wite. Ge nekata sema. Ge win mana nantamenta au manitu. Tanata market. Binaske ma ki wite no. Ne namata beta manitu. Gewinda dapanana no sayman. We win him. Sketa shma. Ini nabas with our sayma. Nananda magin go manitug. The mamo ne kenwad. Skegawan ge go bono to sinoa. We ne ishu chigewad. The kuebanamwad. Pakan guju with the Denisha Maki Aquazon when the Nissan and Dawaka a baya maka. Skema, we win it, the gonna win to Gasawat and go Binuchi, Gaske on and go in Mishi. But get the Nasio to be Jisko Gasawad and go money to the Nandamagma. The gonna win the Mawa to know Binuchi Menanigam. Nakaye Minatashan Dan Gaye Anand Ninunta Waka Go Nishanabeg Kitawat Gawi and Dabijiska Gas a seaman. Skay and Gilga Netawgi again. He went up a wing Nishanabe Wogam going. He could can't see now the ill. the Shaganashima wad. Ske the Skawin Wika, he pin on the Wasig, the Kitawato Gawin, the Betiska Gassina on the Shanabe. Ske Miko Gewinawa. Ipijiska gasawat ke nuto chaos koyang ipijiska gasaman shana beoyang gawin ki ana wenda si nawa ki koeben si nawa ke ni sana chigem shana beoyang chige ge okea ke da wenda man nen da nawa ma a shuku de nega opesho in the way meg Mata one end ban wheel, peso in the way meg. On Guam menem dashma. The mumueg, you the Bajiska gas egg, Nissan at Gege Teoakus when they bar matri mark. Miko gay a stema hinamad absurd. Miko ye would take any absurd oh, Chisaga gun ma. Besha we beat to megam. Ske and give money do go yaog ma. Napa wind ma gajug. The McQueenum and Dwa sugar and bean dark who you get on Shanabe. Ske me ma gay nabasata of say ma. Ske the small way winner gonna win me goag. Beanish me sugar gaga. The buy what ma McQuaming. Wa kwawe binati genoki coin. Get the wee not a makusum. The winter one it's awa can go. Ki going. And not a makua can go manidug my ajig ma sakai ganing. Nake we win it and gonna win to casrig ma. Pai aeg ma me coming. Nako gay au sema miko gay with the Nikatano. She being sorry gunning a yamarakan, ske manitu gay with a yaoga. Ske me ma went unto gay and gay and shana beoyang. Gilki goyak bean scale manomen. Ske the single manitu the not a maguag. The winter 1 to 2 now. Manomen minoa bisagi kid nago gay and go. The winter 1 to Abak and go. Ki goyag. Me ma nako gay the gonna win to gasawat and go. Why pie ajig man be kong. Oh ma. Gay go the master says seal the gonna win me go out no money do nako gay and go benutriag. By time no what ma saka ganing si being. Gay win a what and the not ma go so what. Ske the ske of say ma. In a mad absurd me gay with you. Ke ni nabasata o money do in the women in the Guanestana and the bushu. Me with you, Wabanunga, ni sugar. Anaki she taught ma, ki not moat, ki witch, awat and old and shana bayman. Ke man, nanandra money do. The not market gave in skegay no good commission which I one. Migo gave in a ma. And that pugs at the morgan or say man gave in a ma. The not market. Gave me ma. Gay and give money to the not market what you wanted us and the man. Ske nipo oh, kidin shana baymanan. Wincheta. Eskibi mada sitigi one ana negi o enter an ab to 2 and the gowan given out his key cargo to be mada said. Ske honored some wog me goes in the cigarette. You may move. Ske das mam. We net doesn't done you. Anishana beoyang, I mean goes young. Nepwa. Kimina goes and get a pen moyang. Scale, no okay and the bean dark could you get on the shanabe, now go gay. in the sugisig ma binda kuja get me evo. En minchi ma quid man shanabe en a bimu in a good ni gani ming. Get a singio, skippy mother sajig. Gego, the we on a wind to see now. Kashmin goes young and shanabe young. Scare me oh. Nepoa went to my motor or go in Adjis Kagwad. Get oh. Now what to go? Onis on Nendang and go quad get tood. Me dash my pie wait on we when Nendang ma and go quad to get good. Get dash ma. And go skip mother said you got pie way what and naskam water yoga. She mean goes young and it's not very young. Me are a nabadakta penamo that penamo what me oh. Mother ma kuiwad gain dinner gay wad mad nada ma kuwad go in yo. Yo and the number gay pug in a good own shanabe. The object to see now. Big is ma. Bisentam wad, moon and water. In a kanawab mawad and a wabski when and is it again at them. In a mamuad nujo. Gego, we went in the muad gego. Me copana is a winter morgo in Shanabe. Miss Swago gainish it again go in we car chumukamana scene. So, Puno tu nangwame tu no Nishanabe young. Gashimini goes young. Miko gaya au sema. In the matter opposite me gay with him. Gay opposite and go beneath swag. Sugar be known dog was what me now. We win it to be my dog that up and I wanna know. A say man honey to go man done a kid oh. And Shanabe went to the mouse gunning. Oh, when be my hour we win it. Then be my hour they can't on our man Shanabe and done a kid. Me go gay mom. Oh. I say ma gay and a mad opposite me ma. Then the bean dog cool to gas what gay and go. We sing. Gay mean goes and gay nunch gang now and go we sing a gayog. Gonna cut on giga. The object gas what ma. The identificator on is shanabe. Gay me ma say ma gay name opposite wawash case na go gay and go wabusuga. The winter wanted to nanek on is shanabe young. And go. Wabusu na wawash case wug. Me the son neighbor and go. Money do go yog. Go and go kenama win a dash ma sig. Me go and go to the answer is casino say man monkum. Ma the mammon kenama this can go. Money do. Me this mom. Win the dash magwango, money do, under the magage go squad. Then the dash mindwa. Me dash oh. Money do ma be ma yad magish going to scabe was trace win and them. Skega kitot and the bima yar and magish going me ma gange and catwag. And another more go on the Nishanabe. Skega. Vegas we win okay, I need it to get. Can I say mamma wear not my goose egg? Naka is quang be a yavan no. Oh, which money do no, oh, Kiganan is win and Mika with a sema. Kenina beside them. Skega ma. It's not a market. Man being dark could get in a canoe to mark and a mark, spin mark go. And when he can and one end a man. Me oh money dog and a dog was dude. Then that two to man went to the ke natamako yung Anishinaabe we na ge we wene ni badibik the gonna win to gasre hanin de go and ge beshe ge go ma the bibin de gesin de binishanadu to get the big gemooded we wene go then gonna win to gasre get the show get to min chigeo can go knock on a go winter to and daman Kawin, we call Nanda Masin, and no money doing boots, and the same quad, the hunting go and the coming about ma squinny gunning. Pegas in the abja yata o Nishanabe ma. Gibim we do to Nishanabe bombs win, then angwa metud. Gay good and on when the go money doing got mean a good. Me ill. Ke nata makota o Nishanabe mind and a kid. Ske ma. Gige tanishanada suwokima. And a kid gispan ma ayawang asinta ma. In a angwame tusagina pitendesiga okea. Kashmina goes young and Nishanabe young. Me to go kea again, some men no say to own Nishanabe ma. And a nakid me go ma. Mineko ma en we tua nungum. Me guecho tagos asma anwen me goose one ma denagagi gituan. Me guech. That brought out in my invocation. It was all in Ojibwe and not all of our people understand. So I'm going to translate some parts of it. It's always good that our elected officials, our reservation leaders, put their tobacco out there and remember those money doog that we rely on as a people. And I also ask that each one of our elected officials be helped in their position to help the Anishinaabe people that live on this reservation. You know, we have Mandaman, we have Sheldon, and Mudum, and Wagush, Virgil, District 1, be helping also Okimabines, District 2, East Lake, and also Scott Bears, who is a representative from Ojibwe. They all be helped. One of the things I talked about was COVID-19. And I have been hearing that there are some Anishinaabe that have been refusing to get vaccinated or saying that they don't believe in being vaccinated. You know, the old people that raised me, they knew very little English. They were Wawinge Anishinaabe, they were totally Anishinaabe, and I never heard them once say that being vaccinated was not acceptable to us as a people. I remember all the shots that we got over the course of the year for polio, smallpox, tuberculosis. There's just a whole number of diseases that we were vaccinated for. And I never once heard those old people say that was against anything we as Anishinaabe believed in, to get vaccinated. I can tell you, especially with this new strain of virus that has come into this country, it's very contagious. And for those of you who have not been vaccinated, you're going to feel really bad if you should catch a virus and pass it on to some of your close relatives. and you lose them in the process. You got to keep that in mind, because I don't see any basis of any reason for people to refuse to be vaccinated. It is not something we were taught. Those old people would have brought that up. Also, I wanted to talk about drug use on our reservation. It's mostly our younger people that are into drug use, and I want them to remember that we as Anishinaabe were given our teachings and our ceremonies to rely on as a people, to kind of a source of support as we're going through difficult times in our lives. And that instead, a lot of our young Anishinaabe people are taking the easy way out. They think it's the easy way out, and go out and use drugs, thinking it's a way to escape for all that hardship they're going through. You got to remember, all of this was put in place for us as a people to hang on to. That's what our people used to say. That's what's going to help us through those hurdles and hardships in our life, all those ceremonies, and putting our tobacco every day. And we've lost so many young people to ODs. So my advice to our young people is to get back to our teachings. You are never going to be Chimukaman, no matter what you do. You'll always be Anishinaabe. So follow our teachings and do what we are given, and that will take care of you in your lifetime. And I just asked for several other things, like offer tobacco to the Manidugan in the lake, Mille Lacs Lake, Mississauga. You know, that they're going to start ice fishing, and that you're able to bring plenty of fish, and that we always be provided by those Manidoog in that lake in that way. Also, the other lakes and rivers, they're Manidoog there, and that's where we also get our fish and our wild rice. And those Manidoog accept that tobacco and provide us with the fish and wild rice, so we always have those things to eat in our lifetime. And also, I offered the tobacco up to those animals we rely on that agreed to be used by us as an Anishinaabe as a source of food. The deer, and the other animals like the rabbits, Wabuzug, that there be plenty of them. I can remember as a kid that all winter long, that's pretty much all we eat was rabbit. So all of that comes back to us. And that all of those Manidoog I mentioned provide support to your reservation, people living here, people that come from here. So they're not without, they're always be provided for. That's about it. Miigwech.
Miigwech Obazan. Next, I would like to recognize the Mille Lacs Band elected officials. The Honorable Chief Executive Melanie Benjamin, the Honorable Secretary-Treasurer Sheldon Boyd, the Honorable District 1 Representative Virgil Wind, the Honorable District 2 Representative Marvin Bruno, and the Honorable District 3 Representative Wallace St. John. I also want to recognize Associate Justice Sylvia Wise of the Mille Lacs Band Court of Appeals. I am now pleased to introduce you to our national anthem singer, Brea Sawyer, daughter of Mille Lacs Band member Sheena Matrius and Robbie Sawyer. She is currently in her junior year at Brainerd High School while taking college courses at Central Lakes College as a post-secondary enrollment option student. Welcome, Brea.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Miigwech Brea Sawyer. I am honored at this time to introduce the Honorable Sheldon Boyd, Secretary-Treasurer and Speaker of the Mille Lacs Band Assembly. Welcome, Sheldon.
Miigwech and good morning. Before we get started with the session of Band Assembly, I have a few words here. To Mille Lacs Band members, Madam Chief, members of the Assembly, commissioners, legislative staff, and all those viewing on the live stream this annual State of the Band Address. This marks the fourth and final speech of my term as Secretary-Treasurer and Speaker of the Assembly. And that was entrusted to me 4 years ago by the Mille Lacs Band members. These last 4 years has been life-changing and passed too quickly. And looking back, the group of people I've had the pleasure to work with have done some incredible things, milestones, and I'll mention those shortly. It's important to remember that in that election 4 years ago, band members voted for the Secretary-Treasurer. For the students here, just quickly, of the 5 elected officials of the Mille Lacs Band government, the chief executive and the Secretary-Treasurer are what's called at-large, and that means that all band members vote for these 2 positions. The 3 district representatives embody the collective membership votes, but in 3 parts. The strength of the district representatives is like a bundle of sticks. When bound together in sessions of band assembly, together their strength is greater than the collective under Mille Lacs Band law. This makes the most powerful branch of government where lawmaking and the power of the purse starts with these 3. The only check against that day-to-day authority is the signature of the single most powerful voice in band government, that's the chief executive. So that appears to leave the Secretary-Treasurer as the odd person out, but not so. No other elected position has broad fiscal authority for the finances of the band, where lawmaking and fiscal authority are tasked to one person, acting as Speaker of the Assembly and the Secretary-Treasurer. Secretary-Treasurer doesn't spend money. That person has the duty to make sure that that money's safe. I'm making that distinction for the purposes of this speech, and allow me to summarize and report to the people the accomplishments of the Speaker of the Assembly, then Office of the Secretary Treasurer for this term of office. It's always lawmaking versus finance. The Speaker of the Assembly is the leader of the legislative branch and along with legislative staff facilitate legislation and affixes a signature to documents to verify established processes have been followed. To quote the late former Solicitor General Jim Genia, lawmaking is like a muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it. Lawmaking is one of the cornerstones of our tribal sovereignty. In these past 4 years, staff has worked to improve and energize that function of government. Among these accomplishments has been a series of firsts, some groundbreaking and some potentially will impact the economic security of the band, in my opinion, for generations. But most importantly, these accomplishments have been a group effort, and band members should know that legislative staff reached out and collaborated with other branches of government and external resources to provide an extraordinary work product during my brief 4 years here. There was reformatting of band assembly bill templates for efficiency within sessions of band assembly, to a wholesale reorganization and digitizing of historical documents. By legislative order, draft bills now have public comment period prior to consideration by band assembly, where just 4 years ago, only titles 1 through 4 required comment, further illustrating a more inclusive lawmaking process moving forward. Figuratively and literally, the traffic cop for most of this is the Clerk of the Assembly and Parliamentarian Darcy Big Bear. These updated processes were given foundation by passing legislative order that takes the torch from previous band assemblies and continues to solidify the foundations of lawmaking. As mentioned last year, there is now permanent staff within the legislative offices for continuity and processes and institutional knowledge. The band's reviser of statutes, Hannah Valento, has created a tribal register online, which is the source record for the official acts of government. The amount of content scanned and uploaded has been enormous and provides an unprecedented look going back to the 1970s at the official acts of our tribal government. Almost all historical legislative documents are now online on the new tribal register. A huge accomplishment, and I urge you all to take a look at the tribal register within the band's website. Also, there was a first printing of what will be an annual publication, the Official Acts of 2020, and these came in just this year and just a couple of weeks ago. Again, this is quite the really cool book for everyone to take a look at. And did you get one? Here. There you go. So, and a request for proposal for the printing of the official acts of 2021 is underway, and the intent is to have these publications available for reference for future government officials and historical record. The intent is 20 years from now, there will be 20 volumes for the next generation to have a concise record to draw historical knowledge from. Along with last year's initial printing of the laws of the Mille Lacs Band, these publications will be distributed to governmental, legal, and educational institutions for reference, and are available to the general public at a cost, but as determined by the reviser of statutes, are free of charge to band members. Legislative staff and band assembly examined the theory behind the 2-year assembly and 2 sessions per year concept, such as this is the first session of the 20th assembly. The start of sessions coincides with constitutionally mandated elections and account for a change in power. Staff has recently published a calendar to further promote the lawmaking process based on the assembly and session structure for the coming year. Now think about that. Tiny Mille Lacs has been a legislature for 39 years. Let me mention live streaming. One of the duties of the Speaker of the Assembly is to require the prompt recording of the band assembly's acts and deeds. In the first week of June in 2021, live streaming of sessions of band assembly began by legislative order and changes the level of accountability of government to the people. 4 years ago, live streaming was unheard of and was only a concept associated with the ever-elusive term transparency. And it was one of my goals of coming into office. The first resolution put before the band assembly was voted down. But anything worth pursuing takes perseverance. You have to keep talking, don't get discouraged, and eventually the idea was accepted and mandated by legislative order. Live streaming has been a disruptive technology in association with the actual sessions of band assembly. In almost all aspects of sessions have been affected. There are consistently 100 viewers in attendance, and that has impacted protocol, etiquette, and preparation, just to name a few aspects, because people are now watching and are free to form opinions without influence. That's increased transparency and oversight by the people. Today, the band assembly chambers may be a place of technological standard where meetings are held in person or remote or archived or live streamed for online viewing, but it's the legislative staff whose intentions are to make this a welcoming place to come and where lawmaking process has names and faces, personalities and deliberation, and where the breadth of the subject matter can be fully realized by those who choose to attend in person, view live, or view the archived sessions. Staff has begun inviting students from the Nayashing School to attend and experience this band assembly conducting business. They're formally recognized as attendees for historical record, and afterward we eat pizza with members of the band assembly and staff. We had a few fall asleep, a couple of them. That was understandable. Live streaming in the eyes of future generations on the band assembly put into perspective that we must represent all ages, and our behavior and our words are on display, where current leadership is being viewed and assessed by future leaders. A huge thank you to all the legislative staff involved for making what once was an idea, and it's now a standard of our government. Now, lawmaking versus finance. Investments. I began today by differentiating between lawmaking and finance, the Speaker of the Assembly versus the Secretary-Treasurer. The Secretary-Treasurer managing the finances of the band takes the form of the Commissioner of Finance and the Office of Management Government for government spending. The management of the Treasury, the investments, however, has historically been entrusted to outside entities called investment advisors. One company for 20-plus years for long-term savings, and another company for 10-plus years for minor trust accounts. These are the two major investment portfolios of the band. These business arrangements fall squarely upon the Secretary-Treasurer to understand, evaluate, and recommend changes if needed with each term and with each Secretary-Treasurer to superintend and manage. This is what I didn't see coming in as Secretary-Treasurer 3 years ago, and quickly became the #1 priority to review and understand. Never be intimidated because you don't know something. Ask questions and listen. And I've said repeatedly, it's not about intelligence, it's about experience. You have to find the right, competent, and honest people to help you because I quickly found out that the band's historic investment relationships had serious management structure flaws in relation to the size of the band's investment portfolios. In addition, 3 years ago, the position of Secretary-Treasurer had no statutory framework to properly manage the investment portfolios. What came to light was the Mille Lacs Band needed adequate institutional investment expertise for over 20 years and didn't have that. We're currently in a steep learning curve where we find the institutional investment field is specialized and takes years of experience to become competent as a career. When I first took office, investment advisors spoke directly to elected officials, offered advice, and took direction. In other words, the expertise needed to properly manage a large portfolio like the band's is similar, in my opinion, to a doctor managing his patients in collaboration with elected officials. Then why would an investment advisor collaborate for management of investments in the same manner? And I see that being an elected official. You don't want a bad doctor taking care of you. That historic arrangement demanded immediate and substantive change by independent analysis, and changes were recommended by the Office of the Secretary-Treasurer under the law as mentioned before. The Mille Lacs Band isn't alone where tribes nationally are working toward establishing themselves in the investment field. They're moving toward adequate investment management in the form of investment committees. This is my assessment of the past 20 years of the management of the treasury of the band, because I was put here by the people and proceed with the people's best interest in mind. Please give a huge thanks to this band assembly, chief executive, staff members of both branches of government and external resources for collaborating these past 2 years and making possible a new law that creates a framework to properly manage the investments of the band moving forward where none existed before. Title 17, Banks and Banking. Chapter 3, the Institutional Investment Committee. Now, I give thanks to the subcommittee who worked on the draft of this statute over a series of Friday afternoon Zoom calls last year. Instrumental was Shannon O'Leary from the St. Paul, Minnesota Foundation with 20 plus years of investments. Adam Candler, Mal Toll, Sinjin Kanasatega, Pete Naquinabe, and Brianna Boyd. Now, this is the half of it. Membership must give thanks to band government for creating the investment portfolio 20 years ago and saving money all those years. What's being addressed here is adequate management and accountability for those investments. The Institutional Investment Committee will provide reports to the band assembly and is intended to directly oversee the investment professionals responsible for managing those portfolios. This law creates processes for managing the costs of investments and having independent performance reviews of those investments where none existed before. This law holds contracted investment professionals accountable by mandating industry standards and where those businesses' relationships are reviewed periodically and put out for bid. And to mention a topic that will interest parents, myself included, this law will improve the cost and management of the minor trust funds for future generations where none existed before. Legislative staff has advertised to fill a position for a qualified band member to learn the field of institutional investing and serve on the board as a voting member. This is just getting started, and the investment board has a huge workload ahead. History needs to recognize Commissioner Mal Toll. He's applied his expertise and guided the band in this steep learning curve. This law is necessary, long overdue, and just plain makes sense. Now, let me try and summarize before moving on to the business of today. Our financial journey continues where 30 years of revenue from gaming has made investments possible and directly funds the government that provides a wide range of services and monthly disbursements intended to supplement work income and help families. Initiating an institutional investing creates a financial foundation similar to states, cities, and provides a measure of economic security for future generations. Because we do not want to have to live paycheck to paycheck, as the recent closing of the casinos during the pandemic has clearly shown is possible. The main purpose and duties of the Secretary-Treasurer is to provide economic security. Now, tribes today still face attacks on our sovereignty and history, in spite of the great strides all across Indian country. Years ago, my father, Reigning Boyd, was asked to do the invocation when the Woodlands Bank first opened in Onamia. And after we were through, we were riding home in the car, and he asked me if I understood what he said. Not all of it, Dad, I said, and he told me. He told me that he said, they always wanted us to be like them, and now they don't like what they got. He was standing in a financial institution, a bank owned by the Mille Lacs Band, and knew full well the uphill battle that the Anishinaabe continue to face. He was unapologetic in his observation because he and my mom, like most Native children of their time, were taken from their homes to boarding schools to make them forget their language and culture. That's the only reason, because it wasn't to learn. There were schools here that other kids went to. His generation passed on a language and culture that couldn't be beat out of them, and in spite of that, still realized the need for education. It must have all came back to him that morning doing the invocation, because realizing the band had just opened a bank that showed success unheard of in his time. The memory of that day reminds me that in spite of our successes, we must always remember where we came from. Stay humble and be kind. Now, it's been an honor to serve as the Secretary-Treasurer these past 4 years. It really, like any job, you learn what you're supposed to do, assess the situation, and work toward getting it done in the time you have. I believe a good work product has been delivered, but mostly it's about the people that I've met who are amazing in work ethic, vision, and the ability and willingness to work with others. In particular, Adam Candler, I thank you. It's those people that make me a better person. And thank you to the Office of Management and Budget, in particular Katie Radins, Chris Waite, Joni Wall, commissioners, elected leaders, and the people I've met during these 4 years. Legislative staff, Deanna Sam, because I forgot her last year, Samira Kimpson, Kiana Morrison, Hannah Valento, Joe Jensen, Adam Candler, Darcy Big Bear, Valerie Harrington, and Brianna Boyd. Miigwech. Madam Parliamentarian, please. Let me call to order the first session of the 20th Assembly on Tuesday, January 11th, 2022. Is there a time, please?
10:59.
Do a roll call, please.
District 1 Representative Virgil Wind.
Here.
District 2 Representative Marvin Bruno.
Here.
And District 3 Representative Wally St. John Sr.
Yeah.
We have a quorum. Miigwech.
Miigwech, Speaker Boyd, and Parliamentarian Darcy Big Bear. At this time, I am honored to introduce the Honorable Associate Justice from District 3, Sylvia Wise.
Bonjour, everyone. Bidabanukwe, Nunga Majinas Kazo, Mrs. Guy Gunning, Nindunjaba. It is my privilege to deliver the 2022 State of the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe Judiciary Address today. 2021 was clouded by the shadow of the COVID-19 pandemic. But the judicial branch did experience some rays of sunshine and hope. Sadly, two of our justices on the Court of Appeals, Elmer Nekonebi and David Sam Sr., passed away in 2021. They were beloved elders, and part of their legacies are their many children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. Even though they both lived rich and full lives, they were looking ahead to see what could be done for future Mille Lacs Band generations. Justice Sam said that the role of Associate Justice was one of the most meaningful positions that he proactively sought out to attain. To him, his whole life somehow pointed him in this direction. He was honored to be selected and appointed to the role. Justice Nekonebi was a quieter soul, but he too knew that the position of Associate Justice was well respected, and he wanted to do his part for the band's tribal court. Both justices realize that drugs and alcohol are having a devastating impact on the band and its younger generation in particular. They were invested in the planning for the Mille Lacs Healing to Wellness Court, Nujimu Iwigamig in a Wanadiwag, the healing journey. In a little while, I will speak more about the progress that we have achieved in making this life-saving program a reality. Chief Justice Ramona Applegate retired in March 2021 after 4 years of service on the Court of Appeals. We appreciate her years of service and the good humor that she brought to the court. She was pleased to be appointed as Justice on the Court of Appeals on June 26, 2017, and she had enjoyed the challenging position. On September 15, 2021, Brenda Moose was confirmed as a Justice to the Court of Appeals. Justice Moose previously served on the court from November 1, 2010 to August 30th, 2016. We are fortunate to have her wisdom and experience to guide us. During the 2 years of the pandemic, our caseload numbers have dropped, but the district court presided over by Judge Richard Osborne remains busy. In 2021, 1,025 new cases were filed. 1,820 cases were completed, and 1,447 hearings were held remotely through a video conferencing to avoid spreading the virus. Interestingly, by having remote ways of participating in the hearings, people were able to attend court more easily, and we have had far fewer failures to appear. We are grateful to our dedicated court clerks and our court bailiff who process all those cases under very difficult working conditions. Thanks to the initiatives of our long-serving court administrator, Gilda Burr, the Mille Lacs Band's judicial system is one of the most technologically advanced tribal courts in the U.S. today. We are the first court anywhere in the country to successfully integrate our case management system, Full Court Enterprises, with our new electronic filing system, File and Serve Express. By implementing this integrated system, we have kept court users safe while improving our efficiency and records management. We will be working hard in 2022 to enhance our website to help everyone be able to access justice services more easily. The planning for the implementation of the healing journey Implementation of the Healing Journey program has gone extremely well. Many meetings with advisory committees of elected and appointed officials and key tribal government employees were held in 2021. A mission statement was developed from those meetings that says, the Mille Lacs Band Family Healing to Wellness Court is an alternative to the traditional court process, which works to reunify families and build a stronger community by providing support and connections to cultural healing services for those impacted by mental health and addiction. On December 8, 2021, the Mille Lacs Band Assembly held a public hearing on the proposed legislation amending Title V of our statutes to formally establish Nujimo Owigamig Inawanadiwag. The judicial branch, through Court Attorney Jill Tompkins, submitted written comments and provided testimony regarding the procedural aspects of the bill. Another step in our progress is the hiring of Teresa James as our Healing to Wellness Court case manager. Teresa previously served as a lead social worker for the Mille Lacs Band Family Services Department, and we are delighted to have her deep knowledge and enthusiasm on our staff. Implementing the Healing to Wellness Court is especially important to the band's efforts to stem the tide of children being abused or neglected by caregivers struggling with addiction and mental health needs. The program will increase collaboration between tribal departments and service providers and will increase the monitoring and support of parents. The path of one band family was changed dramatically for the better in 2021 when their child protection case was transferred to our judicial system. For years, the parents had been addicted to methamphetamine and they were abusing oxycodone and other drugs. The drugs had such a hold on them that their children were severely neglected. When state social workers intervened, they found that the children were malnourished, in soiled clothes and diapers, had lice and open sores, and had terrible dental problems. The children were habitually truant, but not because they did not want to go to school. One of the youngest children walked to the school on a winter day with no coat or socks on. She told her teacher, "I'm happy to be at school so that I can eat." Another child was so malnourished that the child had developed a medical condition that he may have for the rest of his life. It was truly a heartbreaking situation. The family was involved in prior cases in another tribal court before the latest state court case, which started in December of 2019. The children had been removed from their parents' custody several times, and in one 2-year period, spent 589 days in foster care. Substance abuse treatment and services had been made available to the parents repeatedly, but they did not make progress on their state court-ordered case plans. So finally, on March 18, 2020, the county filed a petition to terminate the parents' rights. The band received notice of this, and the Office of the Solicitor General filed to transfer the case to our district court according to the Federal Indian Child Welfare Act. The district court appointed the transfer, and in December 2020, the band's Family Services Department began to work very closely with the parents. Around the time of the filing of the termination petition, fortunately, the parents seriously engaged in treatment and became sober. The Mille Lacs Band Family Services was able to support them in their continued sobriety. The band's social workers have difficult jobs, but their dedication and persistence can make all the difference in whether a family becomes reunified or not. In this case, over the next 10 months, the assigned social worker made more than 93 contacts with the parents. Family Services and Anji Bimadizing assisted them to connect with outpatient substance use therapy, treatment, parenting classes, housing, and dental care for the children. They received help to clear their outstanding fines and regained their driver's licenses. Both parents became employed. Through the hard work of the parents, in close partnership with Family Services, the family was reunified in their new house, and the case was dismissed only 10 months after the transfer to our tribal court. It is not an overstatement to say that the efforts of the social workers and the courts saved the lives of those band children. With the implementation of the healing journey in October 2022, more families will be able to have the same intense services and support that this family did. We hope to reunify families more quickly and to break the cycle of child abuse and neglect that often accompanies untreated substance use disorder. This past November 22nd, the legendary Oneida Nation musician Joanne Shenandoah passed away. In addition to her musical artistry, she was known for blazing a global path of peace through music as she advocated for the earth and for human rights. She most recently brought attention to the missing and murdered Indigenous women's epidemic. Cherokee Nation of Oklahoma Chief Wilma Mankiller was a mentor to Joanne. Once Wilma visited Joanne at her house and interviewed her for a book for a whole week. At the end of the week, Wilma said to her, "Joanne, long after you have passed on, what will be your legacy?" Joanne spent time thinking about that question and realized that it wouldn't have been about material possessions, but about how we use our true natural gifts to nurture our children and help them realize their potential. She then wrote Chief Mankiller the song, Your Legacy. Some of the lyrics are as follows. After all is said and done, what will be our legacy? What will they say about us? What will they believe? In our lifetime on this earth, what did we achieve? How do you prepare the way? You gave your best for those unborn, and you helped to clear the way. After all is said and done, what will be your legacy? Seeds of life we sowed, crops, flowers, and trees. Children, great-grandchildren will see the mark and leave. Don't let your footprint in the sand be all you leave. Justice Nekwenabe and Sam prepared the way and did their best for those yet unborn. We also remember and honor all the Mille Lacs Band members who passed in this last year. Each in their own way also left their mark to guide us and future generations of the band. We are mindful that the work of the judicial branch, saving lives, safeguarding children, protecting tribal sovereignty, and bringing about Shawinama when we can, is part of the band's legacy. Daily, we take seriously those responsibilities, and we do our best to make lasting difference for the Mille Lacs Band. Miigwech.
Miigwech, Justice Sylvia Wise. Usually, at the State of the Band address, we have visiting elected officials from the state and federal governments who we recognize. During this virtual event, a few of those dignitaries have asked if they can have an opportunity to share some words with our band members. At this time, we will share video remarks from Governor Tin Walz, Senator Tina Smith, and Congresswoman Betty McCollum. Enjoy.
Anine, hello everyone, Governor Walz here. First of all, I wish I could be with you in person. I know this has been a challenging couple of years, but I am so grateful for the leadership, first and foremost, of Chief Executive Benjamin. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your vision. Thank you for your guidance. And most importantly, I would say thank you for your friendship. To the people of the Mille Lacs Band, we are so incredibly grateful. We share this land together. We are making changes to make sure that the respect for nation to nation and sovereign relationships is the law of the land. And I'm pleased to say that last year it was one of our top priorities to make sure that we codified into law that these relationships would be done that way for here going forward. Doesn't matter who sits in this seat or who sits in the chief executive seat, that the people of Minnesota and the people of Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe will deal with each other on that equal footing. So I'm incredibly grateful. To members of the Band Assembly and Mr. Speaker, thank you. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for what you've done for your people around COVID. I know it has been incredibly challenging, but you've done incredible work. And I'm proud of the relationships and the friendships that have been built up. I'm also proud, as we've said time and time again, if the children in Minnesota and the children in Mille Lacs are doing well, all of our children will be doing well. And we continue to make those investments, continue to make sure that we're making the high quality of life for all Minnesotans, and make sure that we're sharing together best practices to make that happen. So I wish during this time that we could be together, but we will be soon. We have to go a little ways further here, protect our people, and build back better and stronger than ever before. We have an opportunity here in Minnesota with historic surpluses to make sure that happens, from infrastructure to education to reducing the costs of just daily life and healthcare and all the other things that make a difference, to make sure that Minnesota is the best place to raise a family. So I wish you all the best. I want to thank you and hope that 2022 is the year that we get beyond COVID and we build back even better and stronger. Miigwech.
Bonjour, I'm Senator Tina Smith. Miigwech to Chief Executive Benjamin, the Tribal Council, and all members of the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe for inviting me to join you today. You know I value our friendship and strong working relationship, and it is my honor to represent and speak out for the trust and treaty rights of Mille Lacs and all of Minnesota's tribal nations in Washington, D.C., and on the Senate Indian Affairs Committee, and on all the committees where I serve. So as you reflect on the state of the band in 2022, I am sure that the impacts of the COVID pandemic are at the top of your minds. In the last year, with strong federal partnership, you have made excellent progress getting vaccines to band members and to your community. The band has also worked hard to recover from the devastating economic impacts of the pandemic on tribal enterprises and your communities. These impacts fall on top of the historic inequities and broken promises that Native people face in housing and jobs and health care and community development. With this in mind, we did good work in Washington this past year to address these inequities, though we have a long road ahead of us. The American Rescue Plan, which Democrats passed and signed into law in March of 2020, is the single largest federal investment in Indian country in the history of this country. Mille Lacs has been able to put these flexible dollars to excellent use, including towards vital cultural and language preservation work that have been threatened by the COVID-19 pandemic. Going forward, we need to address the chronic underfunding of programs for Native health and housing, including providing for advanced appropriations. With the Bipartisan Infrastructure and Jobs Act, Congress and President Biden are stepping up to meet the huge need to improve our roads, bridges, and water systems, and also the need for affordable, high-speed internet access in rural communities and on tribal land. The bill includes $2 billion for broadband in tribal communities and over $100 billion for roads, bridges, and water systems on tribal lands. I also know from my many conversations with Chief Executive Benjamin and tribal leaders that crime and violence continue to be a plague at Mille Lacs and so many different parts of Indian country. And too often, tribal leaders do not have the tools that you need. In 2022, my priority is to pass a reauthorization of the Violence Against Women Act, which I hope will include my Justice for Native Survivors of Sexual Violence Act. My bill would expand the capacity of tribal criminal justice systems to prosecute crimes of sexual violence against Native people by non-Native people on tribal land. I'm so grateful for the strong leadership of Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan on this topic. In Washington, Congress must reauthorize VAWA with these strong tribal provisions. We have many challenges ahead, and I will do everything that I can to be a strong partner and a strong voice for the Mille Lacs Band and for Native people in Washington, D.C. It is my honor to be your senator. Miigwech again for your leadership and partnership, and I look forward to seeing you all in person soon.
Greetings and Happy New Year. I want to extend my best wishes to the members of the Mille Lacs Band, Chief Executive Benjamin, officials of the Band Assembly, and tribal courts. I'm honored to be invited to offer words of welcome to your 2022 State of the Band address. Chief Executive Benjamin, I want to start by thanking you for your leadership. You and I have a tremendous working relationship, and I greatly value your ideas, opinions, and advice. You are a tireless champion for the Mille Lacs Band members and for all of Indian country, which has earned you tremendous respect in Congress from the Biden administration. Let me start by stating my strong commitment to tribal sovereignty. Tribal sovereignty is not to be negotiated. The U.S. federal government has a responsibility to live up to its treaty obligations, its trust obligations, and that means Congress fully funding important services like high-quality health care, education, and public safety. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the disparities and the examples of where the federal government has fallen short have become even more pronounced. This virus has taken too many lives, and the resulting in economic, housing, and educational crisis. It has caused too much devastation for too many families and communities. But the Mille Lacs Band offered tribal nations an example of how to be resilient. Your commitment to public health protections, your dedication to caring for vulnerable communities, your resilience in the face of these tough times, well, it's impressive and it's downright inspiring. From the negotiations on last year's CARE Act to the passage of the American Rescue Plan last year, the ongoing advocacy of tribal leaders was critical to securing emergency funding for tribal nations to recover from the pandemic. I supported and helped pass the American Rescue Plan, which allocated $3 billion to tribal governments and Native communities, including $6 billion for Indian health services. These funds have provided support for essential workers, for vaccinations, testing, treatment, as well as expanded mental health and telehealth services. And I am proud to work with Chief Executive Benjamin and the other Ojibwe tribal leaders, including our own Lieutenant Governor Flanagan from White Earth, so that in Minnesota, you're guaranteed a seat at the table when emergency aid is allocated. Know that I'm committed to working with you and the Biden administration to find a permanent solution going forward so that the list of federally recognized tribes maintained by the Bureau of Indian Affairs accurately reflects your status as unique and individual tribal nations. And you shouldn't have to fight this battle over and over again, so let's get it resolved for once and all. As we look forward to what the new year may bring, I want to highlight a few things. One of the biggest achievements that will begin to bear fruit this year is the enactment of the historic investments in the physical infrastructure bill, and I was proud to vote for and President Biden championed. There will be many opportunities for Minnesota to benefit from these investments, but I especially want to highlight the funding to expand broadband to reach underserved communities like the Mille Lacs Reservation. I know that this is a top priority for the band and the chief executive, who happens to have a great partner in the tech-savvy expertise of Secretary-Treasurer Sheldon Boyd. Their commitment to achieve full, fast broadband for the entire reservation will improve health care, education, economic development, and that will create jobs and more opportunities. I also will work with the band to push for funding for projects like Isle Water and sewer extension to ensure that your community is not left behind when important infrastructure improvements are made. In this Congress, I will continue to serve as Vice Chair of the Interior Appropriations Subcommittee. Our subcommittee funds the Bureau of Indian Affairs, the Bureau of Indian Education, and other programs that serve Indian country. And I look forward to continuing to consult with tribal leaders to work to get the resources to recover from this pandemic to create a brighter future for the next generation. Democrats in the House passed our 2022 Interior Appropriations Bill, and that included historic funding increases for Indian country. But it's now stalled in the Senate because the Republicans in the Senate are refusing to come to the table and negotiate. Congress can't keep delaying our trust and treaty obligations, which is why I introduced legislation to provide advanced funding for Indian health services, Indian affairs, Indian education. I know there's much more work to be done, and I have a great partner, Chief Executive Benjamin, to advocate for the priorities of the Mille Lacs Band and Indian country. But you should be proud you have such a strong and respected leader. And you should also celebrate that this year marks 30 straight years of the band electing inspiring women into leadership. Marge Anderson was one of my dearest mentors, along with Chief Executive Benjamin, Interior Secretary Deb Haviland, Speaker Pelosi, and other women in the federal, state, and tribal leadership positions. They are becoming the proof to the next generation of what women can achieve and leaders can accomplish for their people. So I thank you, and I wish you all the best for your State of the Band gathering today and for the years ahead. Miigwech.
Miigwech to these distinguished leaders for sharing their words with us today, true allies for the band. In accordance with Title IV, Section 6I of our band statutes, which are the law of the band, we will now hear the State of the Band address by the Honorable Chief Executive Melanie Benjamin.
Buju Anina Nishnabe Duk, Mino Gijigad Nungom, Mandaman Indigenous Cause, Melanie Benjamin Indigo. Mr. Speaker, members of the Band Assembly and the Judiciary, and most important, fellow band members of the non-removable Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe, I am honored to speak to you today about the state of the band. Miigwech to Obazan for speaking on our behalf so we can begin in a good way. Miigwech to Manidu Giwizaints and Wabishki Banes for bringing the ceremonial drum and for setting the dish. Miigwech to the Mille Lacs, all veterans for posting the flags. And miigwech to the singers today. This is the second year that the annual State of the Band address required by our band statutes is coming to you virtually to protect the health and safety of our band community. The commissioners have recorded videos to inform you about the goals we met in 2021. We also mailed a detailed report to band members, which provides even more data about 2021. Despite the pandemic, we continue to make progress as a band. This is due in part to the strong leadership team that we have in place. I especially want to say chi miigwech to Secretary Treasurer Sheldon Boyd, who has done an outstanding job serving our community. Also, miigwech to the Band Assembly members. There are moments in history that are filled with opportunity. Now is such a time unlike any other. We now have American Indians at the highest levels of the Biden administration, including the first American Indian Secretary of the Interior. The solicitor who leads over 400 attorneys at the Department of Interior is a member of the Boys Fort Band of Chippewa. Many agencies that serve all Americans are now headed by American Indians. These appointments make a difference. Just one example. In the past, the Army Corps of Engineers did not consult with us in a proper way. Several months ago, I wrote to the new Assistant Secretary of the agency, who is a member of the Nez Perce tribe in Idaho. Within just a few weeks, he flew to Minnesota and we held a government-to-government meeting about protecting our watersheds. In the past, this kind of quick response was unheard of from this agency. But this Assistant Secretary has a cultural understanding of the meaning of water to us that only Indigenous people can fully comprehend. One of the most important duties of the Chief Executive is to conduct government-to-government relations with other governments. Our band has been consulted more times with the Biden administration in 1 year than all previous administrations put together. In 2021, we attended hundreds of consultation sessions held by the federal and state agencies on every topic you can imagine. Even when hundreds of people were on the Zoom meeting and time was limited, I always made certain that I or a commissioner was given time to talk about our Mille Lacs Band position. American Indian people are now seated at the top tables of power throughout Washington, D.C. These are people who understand tribal sovereignty, who know the challenges we face, and do not need a history lesson because they are one of us. In Minnesota, our state government has made big strides. We don't have to worry anymore about whether the winner of the next governor's race will treat us as a sovereign government, because Governor Walz, Lieutenant Governor Flanagan, and the state legislature has made consultation with tribes permanent in state law. The new state law also requires that state employees go through training to understand tribal governments. Like the federal government, American Indian people are rising in state government as well. There are American Indian people serving as lieutenant governor, on the Minnesota Court of Appeals, on the Supreme Court, and in the state legislature. And of course, we have other very strong allies. Governor Tim Walz is hands down the best governor in the history of Minnesota when it comes to tribal-state relations. And Amy Klobuchar, our senator, who has been a champion for the ban on many issues. Senator Tina Smith, who is a ball of fire when it comes to fighting for tribes on the Senate Committee on Indian Affairs. And last but not least, Congresswoman Betty McCollum from St. Paul. She is one of the most powerful members of Congress in the nation. Even though we are not in her district, Betty uses her position to go to the mat for our band, the other Indian tribes in Minnesota, and all of Indian country every single day. Chimigwech to these wonderful allies. One of the most eye-catching changes made by Minnesota in 2021 is that the state put up road signs marking the federal boundary of the Mille Lacs Indian Reservation. After fighting for state recognition of our boundary for so many decades, I will never forget the moment I saw these signs for the first time. My heart soared. These signs are largely symbolic, but they had a deep emotional impact on many of us, especially our elders who have fought this battle most of their lives. Historical moments come along like this once in a generation. Life always comes down to moments. We must recognize what is possible and seize the day. The question comes down to us. Do we have the wisdom and the will to rise to this historical moment? To make positive change, we need more community leaders. Leaders are those who dream of a brighter future and inspire others to want that future too. Sadly, we lost many elders this year to COVID-19 or complications from COVID, and some passed from other causes. Each loss was heartbreaking. Some were drum keepers, knowledge keepers, storytellers, first language speakers, or artists. Some served as officials in governments, and some were all of those things, like our former Commissioner of Education, Joycelyn Shingaby, and former Chief Justice of the Court of Appeals, David Sam. These losses have been hard to take. Our condolences go out to our friends, family members, and as of those who have passed. With loss comes reflection and concern about the future. I've been thinking a great deal about the future of our band. Our future depends on a new generation of community leaders to step forward. We are fortunate because we have many talented band members who are leaders, many serving in key positions right now. And we have many emerging leaders who are getting ready for the future. Today, with all these new possibilities, there is no time to waste. I am excited to speak more about that. But first, I want to introduce our new leadership team in the executive branch. Commissioners are appointed to 4-year terms, and they make up Chief Executive's Cabinet. I want to acknowledge Commissioner of Administration Peter Naquanabe and Assistant Commissioner of Administration Maria Costello, Commissioner of Health and Human Services Nicole Anderson, Commissioners of Natural Resources Kelly Applegate, Commissioner of Community Development Timothy Jackson, Commissioner of Corporate Affairs Joseph Naquanabe Jr., Executive Director of Education Byron Ninham, and Stephanie Dunkley, Deputy Assistant. Solicitor General Caleb Dog-Eagle and the Commissioner of Finance Mel Toll are also key members of our leadership team. Commissioner Toll works in the legislative branch, but he provides critical advice to me in the Cabinet. She migrates to the team for their hard work and commitment to our band. A lot happened in 2021. The best news is that our economy is coming back. Our government could not provide services at this level without our gaming and other businesses. The assistance that band members receive is only possible when our casinos are making a profit. With smart business decisions, wise financial oversight by Speaker Sheldon Boyd, a dedicated workforce, and much-needed federal help, the Mille Lacs Band is recovering strong. COVID-19 forced us to cut back our workforce at the beginning of the pandemic. The good news is that today, almost all band-owned businesses are at an all-time high for band member employment. 23% of band member associates are in leadership positions. This includes CEOs, general managers, vice presidents, directors, managers, and supervisors. There is a great opportunity for more band members to grow into leadership roles. Like the rest of the nation, we have a labor shortage. Our casinos and businesses have more jobs open than interested and available workers to fill them. To hire and keep a talented workforce, the Corporate Commission raised many frontline wages and now pay between $14 and $20 an hour at the Grand Casinos, Wabanabe Inc., Circle Sage, and Grindstone Laundry. We are also working with other tribes in Minnesota to look at sports betting, so stay tuned for more news about that in 2022. Muckwa Global, which has expertise in government contracting, continues to grow. As the biggest employer in East Central Minnesota, the economy of this whole region and the paychecks of about 3,000 employees depend on the successful recovery of our businesses. Even though the United States and the state of Minnesota recognize our reservation boundary, Mille Lacs County still does not. In 2017, we filed a lawsuit against Mille Lacs County and the county attorney and the county sheriff because they interfered with the band's law enforcement authority on the reservation. As part of that lawsuit, legal briefs were filed on whether our reservation established in the 1855 treaty continues to exist. The United States and the state of Minnesota filed what are called friend of the court briefs, agreeing with us that the reservation still exists. Mille Lacs County now stands alone as the only government arguing that our reservation was disestablished. Millions and millions of taxpayer dollars have been wasted over the last 30 years of fighting this battle. This past March, attorneys for both sides delivered arguments before a federal judge on the existence of the reservation. It is possible that a ruling could come in 2022. In the meantime, our partnerships with other counties are only getting stronger. We hold monthly meetings with Pine County and work together on many issues. We have a solid relationship with Aiken County and Crow Wing. And most recently, we've been working closely with Sherburne County. In December, Sherburne County invited Commissioner Kelly Applegate to join them on a trip to Washington, D.C., seeking funding to protect public lands in Sherburne County. There is also burial sites on these lands. For one day, the Mille Lacs Band in Sherburne County walked the halls of Congress together, supporting the same goal. This was history-making and hopefully the start of more projects with county governments. This is the kind of relationship we want with surrounding counties and which might be possible someday with Mille Lacs County. If only their leadership would ever decide to stop fighting every single thing that we do. Miigwech to Pine, Aiken, Sherburne, Crow Wing, Ramsey, and Hennepin counties for respecting tribal sovereignty and working for the benefit of all our citizens. Also, miigwech to the cities of Brainerd, Garrison, Onamia, Hinckley, McGregor, and Aiken. We value our government relationships with each of you. In Health and Human Services, our new clinic fully opened this year. More band members can now be seen with shorter waiting times. Our mental health department has continued to grow with more therapists. Feedback from all communities has been positive. Our emergency services coordinator was acknowledged for his excellent work in food security this year. Congratulations to Dean Reynolds. Our focus in 2021 has been on serving band members during the pandemic and vaccinating as many band members and employees as possible. Recent data shows that unvaccinated people are 6 times more likely to test positive than vaccinated people, 9 times more likely to land in the hospital, and 14 more times to pass away from COVID complications. According to the experts, unvaccinated people who get COVID-19 are more contagious and dangerous to others than are vaccinated people who get breakthrough infections. Unvaccinated people spread more of the virus over a longer period of time. Last October, after the state of Minnesota, the federal government, and many Indian tribes issued vaccine mandates, I sent a survey to elders to get their advice about whether they wanted a vaccine mandate for employees. A majority, 80% of our elders, said that all executive branch employees should be vaccinated. According to the Center for Disease Control and almost every vaccine expert in the world, there is no evidence that vaccines cause harm. There is plenty of evidence, however, that vaccines can save lives. American Indians by far have the highest COVID-19 mortality rate of any population in the United States, and the majority of the loss has been among elders. The bottom line is that vaccinated people are safer around our elders. So today, I am announcing a vaccine mandate that will go into effect for the executive branch employees. Beginning on February 1st, employees will need to show that they are fully vaccinated. Most of our employees and band members will celebrate this mandate. Others might have a different view. I ask everyone to keep in mind that in our culture, protecting the tribe has always been more important than protecting individual preference. This is how we survived the last 500 years and are still here today as Anishinaabe. As chief executive, I took an oath to protect the welfare of our band. It is my duty to issue this mandate for the executive branch. More details will come from the Commissioner of Administration. In natural resources, we experience both loss and victory. In August, the Minnesota Supreme Court quickly ended our litigation efforts to stop the Enbridge Line 3 pipeline. This was a tough loss, but both the federal and the state governments learned that tribes are a force to be reckoned with. The band is closely watching other projects that could impact the band, and we will continue engaging in all battles necessary to protect our waters, land, air, and wildlife. We also had an environmental victory in 2021. Every year, the federal EPA requires states to submit a list of polluted waters that need help. For years, the state of Minnesota refused to include wild rice waters that are polluted on this list. This was about politics, not health, safety, or science. Last year, for the first time, the EPA conducted meaningful government-to-government consultations with our tribe and others. This means that EPA did not just listen to our opinion, it actually studied the tribal research from our scientists and made a decision based on health and science, not politics. In this historical move, the EPA ordered the state of Minnesota to include wild rice waters that are polluted on the state's list of impaired waters. Miigwech, the Secretary-Treasurer April McCormick of the Grand Portage Band of Chippewa for leading this intertribal effort in Minnesota. Our education department has the huge responsibility of providing programming to band members from birth through a person's life. In 2021, the band started the 9 to 12 grade alternative learning program at Neosho schools. Oshki Majitada is a year-round program during and after school to meet the needs of students. This was a major project started by former Commissioner of Education Joycelyn Shingleby, and she would be so proud of it being launched. Congratulations to the 68 adult band members who finished third degrees, from the GEs to PhDs, and received awards from the band. Also, we are very proud of our 84 band members who are receiving college scholarships from the band to support their tuition, books, and fees. These are wonderful benefits that most tribes cannot provide to their students. In administration, our Anji Bamadizing program, which means changing lives, continued to grow in 2021. Despite the complications of the pandemic, more than 300 band members received training and educational opportunities. This included adult basic education, GED assistance, resume writing, driver's license assistance, and many other services. 112 different courses were attended by band member clients, and 241 band members gained on-the-job training through the Work Experience Program. Anji also did an outstanding job helping band members with rental assistance during 2021. Our numbers tell a story of success, but the real-life stories matter the most. Just 20 months ago, a mom and a dad were in treatment, facing charges of child endangerment. All the children were placed in foster care. At this point, the parents decided to change their lives. They both signed up for help with the Anji program, developed a plan, and today they are both employed. They both earned a driver's license, and they have been clean and sober for 20 months. Most important, they have a new home and all of their children back. This is one example of the many successes band members have achieved through the Anji program. And this kind of success is available to any band member who wants to turn their lives around and needs help. As a band government, we can provide assistance, but the band member must provide the willpower and the commitment to change their lives. Community development had a busy year. Housing that was completed or begun includes 35 home renovations for elders and disabled band members, 24 other home renovations, and 128 members received a transitional housing through Mille Lacs Band. Our home loan program continues to succeed. Currently, 324 band members are taking advantage of this program. Qualified band members receive up to $220,000 at 0% interest for 35 years. More than 152 band members took out home renovation loans. A big achievement is that 38 housing units have been transferred to the Anji program to support band members who are working hard to move from poverty to employment. Band members must be Anji clients and working their programs to be eligible for this housing. A few years ago, Governor Walz appointed me to the board of Minnesota Housing Finance Agency. All of the data proves that the biggest step any person can take to get out of poverty is to own their own home. For the past several years, I have said we needed a rent-to-own program and housing. This was not a project that community development could do alone, because all of our housing policies must go through our housing board. I am happy to announce that our executive branch proposal for a rent-to-own program has been approved by the Housing Board, and it has been ratified by the Band Assembly. In 2022, eligible band members living in band housing will have the opportunity for 100% of their rental payments to go towards purchasing their own home. Out of the 580 tribes, we are one of the few that are now able to offer this assistance to our members. Each year, I deliver directives for the commissioners. This year, I have 2 directives for all commissioners, which the Commissioner of Administration will lead. During our strategic planning process, a careful review was done on several areas in band government, and changes were recommended for improvement. Those changes are now being made. Now it is time to carefully examine all of our band policies and procedures to determine whether these policies are actually empowering band members to advance or empowering employees to say no without justification. In some areas, we have so many forms, red tape, and policies that are on the website but are hard to find. It can be difficult for band members to get help that is available. I am directing the Admin Policy Board to conduct a review of all band policies and procedures in every department and recommend changes where change is needed. Second, I am directing the Commissioner of Administration to review the way band members are served by our workforce and examine best practices for improving how employees interact with band members. Every interaction should be a respectful experience. All of our employees should view themselves as solution-focused. This means that instead of making a band member justify why the employee should help them, the employee should be working to find solutions for the band member. This is what servant leadership means. Those with power are there to serve others, not to wield power over others. Servant leadership is a phrase invented by a man named Alan Greenleaf, but the concept is actually based on our Anishinaabe values. Servant leaders treat others with respect, humility, wisdom, love, truth, courage, and compassion. We need a workforce of servant leaders, and I direct all commissioners to work together to make that happen. In 2021, we reached 2 milestones in language revitalization. We published 5 new books that are written in Ojibwe. This is the first time in modern history that this has been done. We hope this book project helps band members expand their knowledge of our practices and what it means to be an Anishinaabe family. Second, I am happy to announce that the first level of Rosetta Stone Ojibwe language software will be released this month. It will be free to Mille Lacs Band members and descendants. Chimigwech to all the band elders who worked on these projects, along with our younger language learners. These band members have been called language warriors. They have gifted us with their knowledge through storytelling and speaking. This is a gift that many future generations will be grateful for. This project can never replace the knowledge of our first language speakers, but we are taking another giant step in making sure our language lives on forever. Miigwech to the elders and language experts for their work on this important project. I spoke earlier about a new generation of leadership. An interesting thing about leadership is that oftentimes people who lead do not even know they are leaders. Most leaders are simply people who have vision and take responsibility, like our band delegates who volunteered to work on the constitutional reform project with the Minnesota Chippewa tribe. These were regular band members who saw the band had a need and they stepped forward to help. These leaders have just finished a report about our band's historical relationship with the MCT and will be preparing and sharing information with band members. When leaders see a problem, they find a solution. While filming for the Ojibwe Language Project, one of our youth, Bella Nekwanebi, happened to be in the room where filming was taking place. The person who was supposed to speak Ojibwe in that portion of the video was unable to attend. So Bella was recruited on the spot to take her place. Bella immediately said yes. She jumped right into the part, speaking Ojibwe. Instead of worrying about whether she could do this, Bella had the courage to seize the opportunity and help solve the problem. These are great examples of leadership, and I invite others to think about this question: who are you? And are you the one who will say, no, I can't do it? Or are you the one who has the courage to help lead? Leaders are people who say, "It's not about me, it's about everyone else." Every band member has a leadership potential, including our children and youth. We have focused a lot of effort this year on developing our youth leaders. One example is our Youth Ambassador Program that is a partnership between Angie and the Mille Lacs Corporate Ventures. 40 youth participated in the program as interns. These kids learned business strategy, leadership skills, and made connections that will also help them succeed. Also, Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan appointed me to a Young Women's Leadership Committee. The committee focuses on what we can do as a community leaders to empower young women. The committee had to take an oath that we would commit to these things. I felt that it would be fun to get a young women's leadership initiative going here. And so a group of young ladies came together who are working to hold a conference for young women on the reservation. We are empowering these girls to become leaders by giving them the experience of organizing a conference for 150 young ladies. They are learning planning, organizing, and budgeting skills, teamwork, and they are learning about their own potential to lead. They are also learning that leaders accept responsibility for their community and that they alone are responsible for their choices and everything they want to become. They are learning to seize opportunity. Sometimes people get trapped into thinking about obstacles, preventing them from taking responsibility for their lives. They might blame history, their environment, negative people, or even the band government. We have all been knocked down in life at some point, but what matters is not how many times we are knocked down, but how many times we get up again. We are not products of our environment. We are products of how much we allow the environment to influence us, for good or for bad. This year, the band worked with an expert that specializes in planning for tribal governments. Something this expert said may come as a surprise to many. Of all the tribes they have ever worked with, no other tribe in the United States provides as many programs and services for tribal members as the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe. They were blown away by the level of services we provide. All of us can think of a family member or a friend who has come to expect that the government is supposed to take care of all of their needs. This is not why government exists. The government is here to protect our tribe's rights, to make decisions based on what is best for the majority, not the few, and to help people lift themselves out of poverty. Government does not actually do the lifting. Band members of my generation always get a chuckle when younger band members complain of being poor. Many of us older people grew up with real poverty. Our clothes were third-hand or homemade. We only had one new pair of shoes each year. Most of our food came from gardens and harvesting. And most of us even had outhouses instead of running water. Many of our grandparents never received a Social Security check when they retired because they worked their whole lives for cash. Yet you would never hear these older people call themselves poor. They didn't think of themselves that way. They took responsibility for making sure their families had everything they needed and never expected help from any government. I want band members to know this. The Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe is considered a force to be reckoned with in both the state and nationally. We are not people to be pitied. We are not poor or downtrodden. For those who need help, we have all the programs and services anyone could ever need to lift themselves out of poverty. As an Anishinaabe, as a sovereign, self-determined, self-governing tribe, we have the power, the ability, and the creativity to succeed. We have to get out of that poverty mindset as individuals because the poverty mindset is the killer of all dreams. All around us, we see band members achieving their dreams and advancing their education. We see people leading healthy lives and gaining new employment. And we see a resurgence of pride in our culture. Young people today proudly introduce themselves in Ojibwe, in non-Indian settings. Their Facebook pages include their Anishinaabe name. These days, ribbon skirts and ribbon shirts are the norm at national meetings. This is a small representation of our cultural identity, but it was not as common 20 years ago. At tribal meetings with state leaders and even at the White House, state and federal officials are careful to make certain that meetings begin with an invocation. Last October, the White House invited Mille Lacs to provide the invocation for a national meeting. I was so proud to listen to Bob Betal speak for us at this White House meeting. We can have the world our elders wanted, where culture, language, and tradition blend with the modern ways of life. This is the new leadership. Speaker Boyd is a shining example of that. Speaker Boyd was raised by traditional people, and he lives his life following our traditional values, teaching, and old ways. Yet he has done an amazing job of modernizing the way the band assembly functions. It used to be that band assembly would meet in tiny rooms in one of the 3 districts. Even though these were public meetings, band members felt unwelcomed. Today, any band member can tune into the band assembly online or sit in the meetings in person, and all are welcome. Speaker Boyd often turns his attention to band members during these sessions to describe for everyone what is happening. We have never had this much transparency. The band assembly and I sometimes had different ideas about the best approach to fixing a problem. But in 30 years, I have never seen a band assembly accomplish this much work and be this productive. Miigwech, Speaker Boyd. Our leaders have always made policy based on what is best for the tribe to survive. Our Anishinaabe values require that we fight for the collective. While we gain new expertise, we value old wisdom. When traditional Anishinaabe values and thinking are the basis for decisions, we succeed. This is called 7th generation thinking. It means making sure we stress the importance of we, not me. Our new leaders must know that culture matters, wisdom matters, and that above all, we must make certain that our tribe survives for another 500 years. In our museum and in our facilities, there are photos of band members from several decades ago. In our history books and in our family photos, we see our grandparents when they were young. Their faces and their lives remind us all that we are here for a short moment in time. Their faces also remind us that they are not forgotten. They made sure that we are here today. In their time, they rose to the moment. Whatever challenges they faced, they were stubborn and they were strong. They were the non-removable. Since the tragic discovery of mass graves of boarding schools in Canada, both the federal government and the Catholic Church have begun dialogue with tribes about the boarding schools in the United States. In December, tribal leaders met with the Archbishop. I told him about a news article. It quoted a letter from a boarding school superintendent in the late 1890s. This man was trying to recruit students for the Mille Lacs 130 years ago. But things did not go his way. In his report to officials in Washington, D.C., the recruiter talked about trying to convince Mille Lacs parents to allow their children to go with him to boarding schools. The recruiter said, "My requests were all met with no." The recruiter also said that the Mille Lacs parents made what he called trivial arguments about why their children needed to stay home. The recruiter said that the reasons given by Mille Lacs parents amounted to nothing. He gave examples of what our ancestors said, such as, "We can take care of our own children," and "Our children might get sick and die," and "We cannot get along without our children." These were the kinds of concerns that this recruiter had called trivial. The recruiter finally gave up and ended his report by writing this sentence: "I have never, anywhere, met with the stubborn resistance I had to face with these Mille Lacs Indians." Those were the recruiter's words. and a lesson he learned about our ancestors the hard way. 130 years later, we are still as stubborn as ever. We come from strong ancestors who could not be removed. Their lives of leadership must be honored, and new communities of all ages need to step forward. This is our time. We are facing new threats, but we have new opportunities. Never forget, we are the non-removable Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe. It is our moment in time to take on the tough problems. It is to fight for our way of life, to fight for our lands, to fight any disease that comes along. Now the next generation must rise to the occasion and seize the day. My administration and I are your public servants. We will always seek to rise to the occasion to serve you in the best way that honors our ancestors. We will face the future with the courage of a sovereign nation, of many leaders that will continue to endure. Miigwech.
Miigwech, Chief Executive Benjamin. In her address, Chief Executive Benjamin mentioned the Mille Lacs Band Rosetta Stone project, and at this time, we will share a very brief video about this important project. Enjoy.
Ojibwe promo video, take one.
Anin, Ajwa Nakaduko Indigenous Cause. I have some exciting news to share with you. Yeah. Can you repeat that? Can you do it again? I have some exciting news to share with you. The Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe has partnered with Rosetta Stone to create a language learning program for our Ojibwe language. Our language experts have been working on Rosetta Stone Ojibwe because they believe our language holds the power to improve our lives, maintain our identity, and help us be successful. Because our language is a core part of who we are, the Mille Lacs Band is going to do everything they can to help us keep it going. Our language experts and the Rosetta Stone project team have been working together to create easy-to-use lessons that combine videos, photos, and community members' voices to provide a rich learning experience. You'll have fun learning new vocabulary and grammar concepts and perfecting your pronunciation. Do you already know some Ojibwe? You'll be able to go a little faster. Don't know any Ojibwe at all? You'll start at the very beginning and just take your time. In Rosetta Stone Ojibwe, you'll get to meet an Ojibwe family and join them in their daily life as they use our language. Other members of the community have provided custom illustrations for the project. Most importantly, our elders have been involved from the very beginning, from the selection of themes and vocabulary to the creation of videos and the recording of the audio. Rosetta Stone Ojibwe is designed to reflect our Ojibwe culture because our language and our culture go hand in hand. For more information about how you can start using the program, contact Anja Bamadazing at 320-532-7407 or visit anja.org. Gigawapaman.
Miigwech to everyone who participated in this great language project. As Chief Executive Benjamin also stated, each commissioner and the Solicitor General have recorded updates about the departments they lead to provide additional information about 2021. Those videos will be shared after the band assembly is adjourned. An annual report was also mailed to each head of household, which I encourage everyone to read for even more information about band government. Miigwech to all the volunteers, the singers, the color guard, the drum, and everyone else who made this 38th State of the Band address possible. And a special miigwech to all the band members who we work so hard to serve. The last song for today is the honor song. For those who aren't familiar, Nawakizis Iban, Jim Clark, used to tell the story of this song. It was specifically created to be sung at the State of the Band address for the people of Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe to celebrate and bless us. We will now hear the honor song. Miigwech.
Members of the Assembly, looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
There's a motion by District 1 Representative Virgil Wind. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by District 3 Representative Wally St. John. Any comments or questions concerning that motion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
That's 3-4, none against. We're adjourned. Miigwech.
This concludes the 38th Annual State of the Band Address. As a reminder, band members can register to receive their gift in the mail by visiting the Mille Lacs Band website at millelacsband.com. Click on the Government tab and then scroll down to the State of the Band link to complete your registration. We will now share commissioner videos, which includes a special surprise at the end, which we hope band members enjoy. So please stay tuned.
Ani, may mangwas as indigenous cause, Mayangan and Dudame, Mrs. Zagaya Gunning and Dujaba. My name is Peter Naquanabe, and I proudly serve the Mille Lacs Band community as the Commissioner of Administration, which is also the Chief of Staff for the Executive Branch. I hope that everyone watching is safe, secure, and in good health. What a year 2021 was. We as a people face the continuing impact of the COVID-19 virus, but together as a strong community, we have made it to 2022. You should have all received the 2021 Executive Branch Annual Report. It is packed full of information about all that took place within the Executive Branch this year. I would like to take this time to give a brief update on some of the highlights within the Administration Department. I'll start with the Grants Department. Under the leadership of Grants Director Brittany Wind, the Grants team also consists of Naomi Wias, Colin Cash, and Nathan Stoll. The Grants Department is an essential department for all the band government does to fund and provide services to our band members. During the ongoing pandemic, not only was the Grants Department able to maintain a 100% operational, but they had a 100% success rate in soliciting funds related to the need of the community and the band related to COVID-19. Millions of dollars in new program funding in various government areas was received as a result of the work of the Grants Department. Departments that benefited included Education, DNR, CMD, and HHS. The Grants Department endeavors to seek out and successfully receive grant dollars make them a foundational part of the Mille Lacs Band government. The next very successful department that has proven critical during the pandemic response is the Anji Bamadazing program. Under the leadership of Tammy Wickstrom, the program has implemented many successful services and programs to provide services to band members to ensure the safety, health, and well-being of band members during the past year. To be time efficient, I will only mention a few of the highlights to come out of the Anji Bamadazing department. The COVID-19 Housing Assistance Program, better known as CHAP, assisted with rent, mortgage, utility bills continued this year. Last year, over $850,000 have been processed to support renters in need. During the 2021 year, an additional $660,000 were dispersed from CHAP to assist with housing and utility bills to ensure band members remained in their homes. In 2021, the band was also awarded a $1.78 million COVID Emergency Rental Assistance Grant, which is SARA. The full grant was dispersed to assist band members in need. Funds have also been requested for 2022 for housing assistance that funds the homeowners. We are currently waiting on final approval from the U.S. Treasury Department for these funds. The Ginaganazig Youth Program had a successful year, working with over 400 band youth. Because of COVID, the program didn't have in-person events until the summer. The program created and set up a network of continued weekly contacts through social media platforms, and were able to hold many events in all districts to get the youth a multitude of experiences. Ginagana's the Jig will have the opportunity to participate in an exciting new venture in the summer of 2022. The Anji program, along with the executive branch departments, are developing a summer youth work experience program. I started in tribal government when I was 14 years old, working for the Youth and Natural Resources program offered here in the early 90s. This is an experience that I carry with me to this day in my position with the band. I was afforded the opportunity to develop a relationship with the government as a youth, which provided me a basis in which I formed my education and employment endeavor that I continue today. This will be a program that will provide opportunities for the youth of today to engage with the government and obtain an understanding and hands-on approach. As this program develops, there will be more information that will be shared at a later date. Next is our information systems, led by band member Keith Modulin. The IS department doesn't always get the credit they deserve, as they play a critical behind-the-scenes role during this ongoing pandemic. The IS department has kept us going, as we had to shift to more remote work. The plan over the next year is to improve the infrastructure within IS to help the band move into this new era. This will include equipment updates and additional staff. The band government currently employs 733 employees, with 311 Mille Lacs Band members and another 80 American Indians. The executive branch is currently working with Bluestone Strategy Partners to complete a review of the current structure and workflow of our government. As commissioners, we strive to provide the best programs and services to the band membership. We also need to streamline our departments by finding efficiencies and making necessary changes to always improve customer service to all our band members. In the coming months, the government evaluation will be completed and recommended changes will begin to be implemented. So what does this mean for you as a band member, you may ask? A better working government is our goal. I'd like to finish up my update by saying thank you. 2021 was another interesting year with some new norms, Zoom meetings and vaccine discussions, pandemic planning, and continued social distancing, and of course wearing a mask. I want to offer my sincerest thanks to band members for all doing your part to keep our communities as safe as possible during this pandemic. Thanks to the Chief Executive for your continued leadership during both the pre-pandemic and in the trenches pandemic that we remain in today. Thank you to Secretary Treasurer Sheldon Boyd, District Representatives Virgil Wynn, Marvin Bruno, and Wally St. John for the great working relationship that has been built over the last year and a half. This collaboration has provided the government a successful path to move forward in making the decade-old changes that were necessary. The legislative branch has enacted many needed updates and processes that remove the old age animosity that often prevented band business from being addressed first and foremost. Your leadership is the positive change that will take us into the future in a good way. Thanks to my fellow commissioners, working as a team to face the current and forthcoming challenges that present themselves will ensure that band members are always receiving the best services we have to offer. And finally, as Mille Lacs Band members, there are times that we often face challenges that can be life-altering. It is in these moments that we, as a community, should come together and offer love and support to each other. As Mille Lacs Band members, we need to start supporting each other. Take a moment to greet your neighbors, family, and friends to ensure you are maintaining a healthy balance during these challenging times. We are all human. We face challenges, we make mistakes, and we succeed. Remember to cheer for yourself as well as your community. I ask that we remember that the Creator put us all here for a reason. We need to help each other reach our full potential. Because in the end, we are all non-removable Mille Lacs Band members. Enjoy the State of the Band address, and I look forward to this year. Be safe, thank you, and I'll see you soon.
Anin Anaguquins Indigenakaz, Magizi Indudum, Ajamug Indunjaba. Welcome, band members, to the virtual State of the Band. My name is Maria Costello, and I proudly serve as the Assistant Commissioner of Administration for the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe. First, I want to say miigwech to all band members who have helped keep our community safe. When we come together, as we have these past 2 years during the COVID pandemic, we can make a difference in all of our communities. These past 2 years have been trying for many, but we as Anishinaabe know what it's like to be strong and keep moving forward. In the administration area, the Commissioner of Administration and the Assistant Commissioner of Administration work hand in hand and oversee the following departments: the Anji Bamadazang, Grants, Tribal Child Support, Information Systems, Human Resources, Self-Governance, and the Community Centers in District 2, District 2A, District 3, Urban Office, Mashawquod, and the new District 1 Aquatics and Fitness Center. The Commissioner of Administration has shared some of these highlights in his video. And one of the highlights I would like to share is exciting news from the Mashawquod Health and Fitness Center in Hinckley. Currently, the fitness center is fully staffed with 5 certified personal trainers who can assist you and help create a fitness plan tailored to you. In August, Mashawquod hosted the Silver Gloves Region 4 Championship Tournament. This was a 2-day tournament. There were 15 fights on the first day and 10 champion fights on the second day. With the COVID protocols in place and us opening the doors to this event, the attendance was well received. There were about 150 people the first day and around 250 people the second day. In October, Mashawquod hosted the Golden Gloves Boxing Show. This turnout was amazing and represented that Minnesota boxing is getting back on track. This was a 1-day event, and we had a total of 13 fights competing on the card. Mashawquod has established themselves as a premier amateur boxing destination and are projecting 4 boxing cards to be scheduled this year. On January 15th and 16th, Mashawquod will be hosting a Region 4 Silver Gloves boxing tournament with fighters coming from Minnesota, Wisconsin, South Dakota, North Dakota, and Iowa, all to compete to advance to the National Silver Gloves Tournament. If you are interested in attending this event, please contact Robert Livingston, the site manager, at 320-336-0220. This last year, all of the commissioners have worked together to make sure services and programs are meeting the needs of band members. I am grateful to work alongside this group of commissioners. Some of the work included an evaluation of the current hiring process and the steps to get more band members employed. In the upcoming year, the plans will be to design a band member development program to offer on-the-job training and give band members a real-life experience in our tribal government. This is essential to building our band member employee base and to give our people these opportunities to be successful in any job in the government offices. Administration will develop a band member training program that will ensure a plan tailored to the individual skill set, interests, and the needs of each department. This new program will be part of Human Resources under Training and Development. An annual report has been mailed out to band members. In this report, you will find more information and updates about each department over this last year. We are always looking at how we can improve programs and services. If you have any questions or would like to schedule a meeting with any of the executive branch commissioners, please contact Angel Orline at 320-532-7478. In closing, I look forward to this year to strengthen our communities and build a better government together. We all have a purpose and we all hold different strengths that will help us accomplish this. Let's continue to focus on the positive milestones and keep moving forward to create a brighter future for our children, grandchildren, and many generations to come. Miigwech for tuning in today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the virtual State of the Band 2022.
That was awesome.
Hello, band members. My name is Nicole Anderson, and I'm the Commissioner of Health and Human Services for the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe. I am very grateful to have been given the opportunity to serve in this role since February 2019. I was reappointed this summer as the Commissioner of Health and Human Services for a 4-year term that began on July 1st, 2021. 1 year into my role as Commissioner, the world was shook by the coronavirus pandemic. We didn't know what to expect, we didn't know how long it would last, or how it would impact us. All we knew is that we needed to adjust just about everything to keep the community and employees safe. These adjustments have been ongoing with the safety of all in mind. Thank you for being so understanding as we navigated all of the unknowns. Outside of the work HHS has done with the pandemic, we have a lot of other cool things happening that will improve the quality of services band members receive. There has been a heavy focus on creating a strong and solid foundation in HHS to ensure program sustainability for the years to come. What does this mean? 2021 was a year full of alignment and adjustment as we settled into the main HHS hub. This includes operational efficiencies and information systems strategic planning. These are both foundational pieces that are so important to improving services across all of HHS. As we head into 2022, there will be a heavy focus on developing a Centers for Case Management that helps band members navigate all health and human services programs in a person-centered manner. Along with this, we are also evaluating the services provided in the outer districts so that we can adjust and meet the individual needs of each district. The pandemic took its toll on all of us and heavily impacted the services provided across the band. We had to quickly establish new ways of doing things in a safe manner. This is a work in progress, and it is something that we take very seriously. Last year, the directive from Chief Executive Benjamin to Health and Human Services was to ensure all community members who wanted to be vaccinated be given that opportunity. To the date of this recording, 1,796 individuals have been fully vaccinated by Mille Lacs Band Health and Human Services. Of these numbers, 880 are community members and 916 are employees of the band. We will continue to take this very seriously by providing vaccination clinics and testing for as long as we need to. As we look to the future, please continue to provide feedback to us regarding services and needs. It is the goal of HHS leadership to take your feedback and adjust where we can. Before we close, I'd like to give a special acknowledgement and a thank you to the Health and Human Services team for their continued diligence in providing services through all of the ups and downs of the past couple of years. Your dedication to the community is appreciated. I would also like to give a special thank you and congratulations to band member Dean Reynolds, our Emergency Services Coordinator. Dean always goes above and beyond to help those in need. Dean is receiving an award through the Department of Human Services for providing good work in providing nutritious and stable food resources during the pandemic. Congratulations, Dean. In closing, as we look into 2022, HHS will continue to provide excellent and safe services. Thank you, and stay safe.
Bonjour, Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe members. My name is Kelly Applegate, and I proudly serve the Mille Lacs Band as the Commissioner of Natural Resources. I would like to start off by letting you know that even though our duties here at the DNR are to protect the natural world and environment, our most important resource is our people. We are fortunate here at the Mille Lacs Band to have great natural resources, a clean environment, and a deep cultural history that so many people are working to preserve, protect, and pass down to our future generations. We should truly be proud to be the Mille Lacs Band. The State of the Band is a time of celebration, hope, and also a time to reflect. The Mille Lacs Band has had heavy loss in our communities in recent times, and we grieve heavily. The DNR is humbled to provide ceremonial feedings, dish-setting ceremonies, and assist families with needed firewood and medicines in these difficult times. We also extend a chimigwich to the cultural leaders of the communities who have offered up their wisdom, knowledge, and guidance to our department. The Mille Lacs Band Department of Natural Resources puts our people and culture first. We remember and celebrate our ancestors, offer up our sema to the Creator and Manadug, and engage in ceremonial traditions that our people have always done. 2021 has been a difficult year for the band. The Natural Resource Department reached out to district reps, conservation officers, band law enforcement, and Gliffwick to talk about safety for our band members practicing their treaty rights. This union of tribal and cultural leaders has created a heightened awareness for safety. Band members can be assured that the DNR is working towards the safest experience possible for our band members. The Mille Lacs Band DNR has many departments including agriculture, archives, cultural resources, enrollments, environmental, land management, tribal historic preservation office, and resource management, which has our fisheries, wildlife, forestry, and wildland program. We also have a great administrative team with an executive director and office manager. There's a lot of hard work that goes on behind the scenes to achieve our mission, which includes the development and implementation of wildlife, fish, and forestry improvement activities, and regulating hunting, fishing, and gathering on the reservation. We also preserve cultural knowledge and practices as natural resources and provide many other services, including environmental protection, natural resource permits, historical preservation, and tribal enrollment. We had a very different year with many unusual climate patterns that affected our natural resources in 2021. An extended drought caused forest fires, low water levels, and impacts to the health of our forests. Our wildland fire crew was very active and was on standby most of the summer. These guys are heroes that rescue land from burning out of control and save lives. We truly appreciate their work for our community. Our Manoomin had a very different year as well. Low but stable water conditions made for great crops in our harvesting areas. But when harvest time came, water levels made it nearly impossible to harvest by canoe in our traditional method. The DNR keeps working towards addressing the issues of climate change as stewards of our environment. We also offer our asema, prayers, and ceremonies so that we may have better Manoomin harvests in the future. There have been huge advancements in developing our agriculture program here at the DNR. Band members can expect more interactive opportunities for community gardening, greenhouse projects for kids and elders, and projects at our ranch in District 1. The Band DNR has partnered with Central Lakes College and the University of Minnesota working on creative programs for band members and even a healing program at the ranch for those in recovery. With so many passionate gardeners in our communities and people wanting to connect to our resources in a spiritual way, we are excited to get these programs up and rolling, supporting good nutrition, the joy of gardening, and healing in our communities. Our fisheries department had a great year in 2021 with fish studies, successful hatchery operation, and stocking of local lakes. Our fisheries department was also successful in getting 2 large grants to mitigate COVID impacts and continue the Mille Lacs Lake fish tagging study. I'm also excited to announce that starting January 1st, 2022, any tribal member showing a valid tribal ID will be issued an annual state park vehicle permit without charge. This includes local familiar parks like Kathio, Father Hennepin, and all other state parks in Minnesota. This is a step in the right direction to hunt, fish, and gather and interact with our sacred areas without barriers. Band members can simply show up at the park with their tribal ID. Chimigwich for your time today, and I take great pride in serving the band as the Commissioner of Natural Resources.
Greetings, my name is Joe Naquinabe. I'm the CEO of Mille Lacs Corporate Ventures and the Commissioner of Corporate Affairs for the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe. As you know, Mille Lacs Corporate Ventures is active in 5 different lanes of business: gaming, hospitality, marketing, in-district investing, and government contracting. We invest time, talent, and resources into the companies under the MLCV portfolio in order to build a social and economic foundation for the Mille Lacs Band. Living through a global pandemic has driven dramatic shifts in nearly every aspect of our business. I'll be talking about those shifts, the good, the bad, and the exciting today. Scarce labor is becoming a fixture of the economy, reshaping the workforce and urging companies to adapt by reinventing services and investing in automation. MLCV and its businesses are no different. With more jobs than interested and available workers, delays are inevitable. More than a year and a half into the pandemic, there continues to be a labor shortage. As a response and to help retain and attract a talented workforce, MLCV raised its frontline hourly wages to a range of $14 to $20 an hour. All current associates have been included in this new increased range or higher based on position and performance. There were positives that have come from this labor shortage, however. This past year, Grand Casino Mille Lacs and Grand Casino Hinckley implemented a Mille Lacs Band member youth program for young adults ages 14 to 17 years old. In total, 32 Mille Lacs Band youth began working for the company this past summer, 10 associates at Grand Casino Hinckley and 22 associates at Grand Casino Mille Lacs. The goal of this program was to provide Mille Lacs Band youth with an opportunity for career exploration, help them acquire skills needed for future jobs, and help the businesses hire skilled associates to fill needed positions. Our youth ambassadors truly helped fill the needs for our businesses this summer and contributed directly to the overall success of the operation. As we look ahead in our hospitality lane, we are still feeling the impact of the pandemic. The hospitality industry is known as one of the worst hit by the pandemic. Through the tough months, our commercial hotel operations worked hard to protect our businesses to ensure we're ready to grow strongly as the economy recovers. Lockdowns, travel bans, and corporate groups moving virtual all had an impact to the bottom line of the MLCV hospitality businesses. There is light at the end of the tunnel for the hospitality industry, however. The industry is slowly rebounding to a desired future state that is vastly improved from the last year. There's pent-up demand for travel. Businesses are moving more to a hybrid model where face-to-face business meetings are happening again. Tourism also continues to pick up. A more complete recovery will require the comeback of the industry's big profit center, steady business travel, which some experts believe won't be fully realized until 2025. On the legislative front, we are working with the Mille Lacs Band Government Affairs and lobbying team on a proposed sports betting bill that's headed into the legislative session. This is an exciting time and something we've looked forward to contributing to. We're also supporting entrepreneurs this year. MLCV once again partnered with the Initiative Foundation to recruit and sponsor Mille Lacs Band members for another cohort of the Enterprise Academy. We are proud to share that 9 Mille Lacs area students recently graduated from the program, which is co-hosted by MLCV. Graduates shared business plans that ranged from a publishing company and natural tea business to a campground and native craft supply company. Each of them brought to life a wonderful business plan that will help boost the local economy. We love this program because it allows MLCV to assist in building a robust entrepreneur ecosystem of resources, create greater industry diversity in the regional economy, and to help our community participate in the economy more. We've made investments in solar energy this year. MLCV broke ground in early October 2021 on a 3.3 megawatt solar array east of Grand National Golf Course in Hinckley. The solar array will save Grand Casino Hinckley over $3.3 million in energy costs over 30 years, as well as sequester CO2 emissions equivalent to planting over 200,000 trees. We leveraged federal renewable energy tax credits to finance the project with zero capital investment from MLCV and the band. In our government contracting lane, Muckwa Global has 4 overseas construction contracts with the State Department, each worth $10 to $20 million over the next 2 to 4 years. Muckwa Global also received a $20 million contract for 5 years to assist the Department of State with a training program. Muckwa Global was also awarded a multi-phased infrastructure upgrades contract for the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency Mid-Continent Ecology Division in Duluth, Minnesota. This has a total contract value of $30 million. One of our most exciting updates is the creation of SlotCo. SlotCo helps tribal casinos improve their gaming experience by infusing capital and leasing new slot machines. The company leases proven, high-performing games from all manufacturers and supports them with advanced data science resources. We are building our client base throughout 2022 and look forward to growing our gaming footprint across Indian country. It's been an exciting 2021, and we're looking forward to an even better 2022. On behalf of MLCV, we wish you and your family a happy and healthy new year. Miigwech.
Anin, hello. I'm Timothy Jackson. B'debwe Asian Akazwood. Gajigwan Bikokeg Inda. I'm your Commissioner of Community Development. In the year 2021, Community Development Department continues to battle the challenges brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic. Despite COVID-19, the Community Development Department was able to continue working toward repairing damaged houses to create more residential homes for band members to reside in. The Community Development staff remain on call and continue to be available to provide the community with safe and affordable housing, housing maintenance, services, safe roads, garbage pickup, clean water, and operable sewer systems. The band's housing department has 512 rental units. This past year, 2,841 work orders were issued, completed by a housing maintenance staff of 19 full-time employees. Housing maintenance continues to strive toward the goal of providing employment and training across all districts of the reservation. Our housing department staff has been and will continue to monitor and enforce our housing policies to ensure the health, safety, and welfare of our communities. We continue to receive positive feedback from our community acknowledging this work. Our band-managed carpentry crews have completed 15 homes, with additional 14 homes currently being remodeled. These projects were funded through the Housing Initiative. The weatherization team is back to work and continues to outreach efforts to serve more band qualified clients. 2021 highlights. In support of Jaka Beanage, formerly known as Transitional Housing, the department has transferred 38 housing units to the Anji Bamatazing Department in support of their program. Housing staff continues to work with the Anji Bamatazing Department to utilize all pandemic relief grants, supporting renters, homeowners during this difficult time. 2022 goals. Community development shall continue to work with the tribal court in support of the creation of the Wellness Court program. We are also working to implement our own Tribal Access Program, TAP. The TAP program is intended to expedite the housing application process. A rent-to-own program has been approved by the Housing Board, ratified by the Band Assembly, and is available to review on the Mille Lacs Band website. The Housing Department will be implementing the rent-to-own program in 2022. Fiscal year 2022 goals carry out activities associated with Housing Initiative budget and Elder Handicap Renovation Program. This involves home construction as well as home renovation projects. Start construction on a Head Start expansion in District 2, Eastlake, and District 3, Hinckley. Continue commercial renovation projects include courts expansion and old D1 clinic renovation. Continue to be a resource for government center, school, health and human services, maintenance staff for troubleshooting and managing heavy maintenance projects. Continue to incorporate green products and technology in projects where opportunity presents. The Planning Department will continue to look for partnerships, opportunities with governmental units, and also continue to look for grant funding sources for road, bike, safety, and pedestrian projects. Miigwech, Happy New Year.
Buju Gakena Oya. Giwi windu muninum gegu jabwaga gigaduyan. Misanin gawin na gakenazin, metigodash ga piwa windu mawaring yu getcha ya ag. Omikoban na wabashkibanes. Gawin na gina tawagi gusin jia jaboymoyan. Miba onji gogega kendaman yu gidin wewananan. Misanin ni gani goneb and dijigakena magu o jaboymong. Bayern in hem in dugu jaganashimong. Mesquagami was aga iganing in nun jaba. ngi natawagi agu ewidi bamijigamag, nungum dashanda ogongosi odenang mi Ojibwe jagadig. Ngi kagwejimig almandam and nibunung da wido kawagwa ngi o gekano maganag na gekano mag ejig. Ne wido no ki maganag mi nin buch da jawena mi youngidwa Mrs. Agaiganing anishanabin megwa bame edizawad. Mi wenji anuna guyang ima Mrs. Agaiganing da wido kawi youngidwa gakina wia. Nipi gagwejimig gidugama kwemanan da jindaman. Niwi Tajandan Bakan Gegu Wajichigayang Megwa 2022 State of the Band Mi Ojibwe Jagadig Mi Ojibwe Jaganashi Moyan. Thank you for allowing me the time to speak on our upcoming initiatives within the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe's Education Department. I am honored to serve as an interim executive director since July of 2021 and for the Mille Lacs Band in various community service ventures since 2012. Before I get started, I would like to acknowledge all of our students, staff, families who have worked through the changes within our educational settings during this pandemic. And although we are not on the other side of it yet, the efforts you have made to make in-person learning a priority while shifting between various forms of learning have not gone unnoticed, and we are appreciative of every one of you. Our transportation employees, nutritional staff, school nurses, social workers, office staff, custodial departments, information technology, paraprofessionals, and building principals have shown up day in and day out to provide an engaging educational experience while navigating our evolving safety regulations from our leaders within public health and state health departments. Although we all are making the annual State of the Band report virtually this year, we hope that this is another step to all of us being together safely in the future. The Executive Branch's Education Department oversees the daily operations, development, and advancement of educational ventures within all Mille Lacs early education sites. Tribally controlled school Neashing, including Pine Grove Leadership Academy, the Ojibwe language programs within these educational facilities, and the Scholarships Department, which serves tribal members and descendants with their unmet financial needs on an as-available basis while attending accredited post-secondary institutions. Mille Lacs Early Education welcomed a new director in the fall of 2021, Dr. Brittany Clausell, who brought a wealth of knowledge and solution-based thinking processes to our program, and we are very excited in the direction all early education sites have ahead of them. Alongside the Build Back Better plan, a major priority is full enrollment within all Head Start facilities, and we will make all the efforts to regain the necessary staffing to meet the needs of our communities this upcoming year, along with the exciting expansions within District 2, Minnesanaquang, and a new facility within District 3, Gajigona Bikokag. Our team is excited for the opportunity ahead of us as we move into 2022. The Ojibwe language immersion programs within Mille Lacs Early Education now have 2 classrooms within Wewanabi serving early Head Start and Head Start students Monday through Thursday. Our young people are beginning earlier exposure to Ojibwe Mon, and our goal is to support these cohorts of students and families on their journey towards revitalizing Ojibwe Mon. Neashing Schools has prioritized safe in-person learning with the support and guidance from our partners at the Minnesota Department of Education and the Bureau of Indian Education, while also meeting the needs for full distance learning for families who have opted into this method of instruction. Our administrators have taken every opportunity that has been presented to make informed decisions on the educational experience of students within the district, and we look forward to our spring 2022. Oshki Majitada is new this school year within Neashing, an alternative learning program with 3 methods of instruction geared towards meeting students where they are at, while providing the same or similar grade level standards necessary to achieve their course requirements for a high school diploma. With the guidance of our assistant principal, Sarah Pilvanen, and Oshki Majitada instructor, Paula Hoffman. Please come to the school and meet our leadership and staff. Our goal will always remain to support our community to provide skills to be successful while navigating their place in 2 separate worlds. Our young people guide the direction of our thought processes and action, and with that being said, we may not always have proper history guiding us, and we must be the ones to tell our story. The Education Department will begin updated Mille Lacs Band history projects through grant funds. This was a directive from the Chief Executive during the 2021 address to provide the framework for Mille Lacs Band history, and although this takes the entire community to share relevant facts and knowledge that guide where we will go into the future, our educational team is excited with the resources our community can support. The Scholarships Program is currently working towards a service framework with our partners at Fond du Lac Tribal and Technical College to support remote learners within our community centers. Although Zoom and distance learning has maintained one of the options for students continuing their education, the department has been working in collaboration to identify needs and capacity for students who may partake in the classroom experience in our community center settings. In the fall of 2021, the program provided support for 84 students continuing their education, whether it's undergrad or graduate programs. This is a sign of a community who is utilizing the tools made available to earn opportunity and or space within these systems. As always, our language and culture provide the framework for who we are, and with the support of our Ojibwe language teams, we are currently members of the Midwest Indigenous Immersion Network, a collective of 10 Ojibwe language medium programs throughout Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Canada. And by working together, we will be better able to address our needs in professional and linguistic development, organization, and distribution of materials and assessments, and recruitment of staff and students. We are extremely fortunate to work together and serve our students, learners, teachers, and our true bosses, our elders, in this work. Working together to support the revitalization of Ojibwe is a true joy and one we all do not take for granted. In closing, I would like to share words from Ningabianuk, Geraldine Howard. Anishna gidanishanabe women gidain women gayagino and gaminaguyang, gawin awe bakan gida awe simen misoago bemenajasyo ang anishanabe wiyang. Or, hey, we are Anishinaabe people. We have our own language that was given to us. We can't be ourselves if we are not following our ways. A translation provided by Bidwewekweban Joycelyn Shingabi, a mentor to many and champion for education for the Mille Lacs Band. Miuminikwe we and Wewe Tuyan.
Hello, my name is Mel Toll. I serve as the band's Commissioner of Finance, overseeing the Office of Management and Budget. It has been an extremely busy and productive year for our office. Looking back at 2021, there are 3 items I will highlight for you today, which are in the areas of financial investments, TGWEA, and CARES Act. I will come back to those acronyms in a bit. First, financial investments. We have spent a considerable amount of time working with the Secretary-Treasurer and Legislative Council, researching and increasing our knowledge about various governance structures that exist related to financial investments. It was a major accomplishment that the Band Assembly passed and the Chief Executive signed into law legislation to create a new framework by which we fulfill our fiduciary obligations to the band related to investments. This was entirely a team effort, and we were happy to play a role in that legislation coming to fruition. Second, TGWEA, which stands for Tribal General Welfare Exclusion Act. Through this ongoing pandemic, the Office of Management and Budget has never stopped thinking about ways that we can assist band member families through these challenging times. Through lots of research and commitment of time, our office created the Eligible Band Member General Welfare Exclusion Assistance Program, providing the structure and format by which elected officials have been able to execute appropriations to provide support for band member families. Third is the CARES Act, which is the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act that was signed into U.S. law in March of 2020. The band received funds as a result of this act, and with it came a significant amount of strict requirements for proper utilization of those funds and the reporting of those expenditures. Our team was instrumental in the execution and tracking and reporting of eligible expenditures associated with those funds. Looking ahead to 2022, we will continue to make advancements in how we manage our financial investments. The passage of the legislation I mentioned is just the first step, and there's much more work to be completed. In March of 2021, ARPA, which stands for the American Rescue Plan Act, became law. Like the CARES Act, there exists a tremendous amount of monitoring and reporting requirements associated with those funds. I'll close with a well-deserved accolades to the supervisors and staff of the Office of Management and Budget. Chris Waite, Katie Radens, Joni Wall, Kathy Heyer, and your respective teams. The essential and critical work performed by you never stops, and we all owe you a great debt of gratitude. Miigwech.
Anin, Buju. My name is Caleb Doggiegal, and I'm the Solicitor General for the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe. As the Solicitor General, I oversee the Department of Justice for the band. The Department of Justice is comprised of two divisions, the Office of Solicitor General, or OSG, and law enforcement. The Office of Solicitor General serves as the interior legal counsel for the band. Currently, the Office of Solicitor General is comprised of 8 attorneys and 3 support staff. I want to take this moment to thank them all for all their hard work they do on behalf of the band and OSG, especially Angel Daher, who acts as the managing attorney for OSG. The OSG works hard to increase and expand services to many departments and programs for the band. OSG plans to improve upon and continue that trend into 2022 and beyond. Some of the increased services were focused on the Housing Department, Community Development, Health and Human Services, the Anji Babanazing Program, grants and contract reviews, protecting and advocating for children and families, updating and creating policies, participation in the creation of the Healing to Wellness Court, and increased community participation when possible given the constraints of the pandemic. I'd like to give a special thanks to the men and women who are serving our band and communities in law enforcement. They work hard to ensure the safety of all of our communities. Next, I'd like to move to some lawsuit updates. Mille Lacs County. The lawsuit has been ongoing for some time now, and we have submitted our responses to the most current county arguments, and the county has until January 13th to reply. After that, Judge Nelson will then issue a ruling on the county's argument. Despite delays because of the pandemic, the lawsuit with Mille Lacs County should be scheduled for trial sometime this year. We remain confident in our position and will continue to advocate for the sovereign authority of the band. In 2019, to help fight the opioid epidemic, the band filed suit against opioid manufacturers and distributors. The case has gone slowly through the federal courts as we wait for a test case to be litigated in Oklahoma. The case is large and complex and would likely end in settlement. A settlement would include funds to combat the crisis, such as treatment and prevention. Currently, the state of Minnesota is in negotiations for a settlement as well. The opioid settlement collaboration team is focused on upcoming changes for the legislative session. The band received a grant to fund a special assistant United States attorney position to prosecute crimes from the reservation in federal court. That position started in 2020 and will boost law enforcement efforts on the reservation and better serve the needs of our communities. I was sworn in as a special assistant United States attorney to enhance the prosecution of major crimes, especially drug-related crimes, increase public safety, and exercise the band's sovereignty. In order to achieve that goal, information is critical. The United States Department of Justice awarded the Mille Lacs Band the Tribal Access Program Grant, or TAP. The TAP program allows selected federally recognized tribes to more effectively serve and protect their nation's citizens by ensuring the exchange of critical data across the criminal justice information services systems and other national crime information systems. Along with that, the band is currently working on access to the Minnesota court information systems. Goals for 2022 include increasing the services provided and to continue to advocate for the band's interests in the county lawsuit and the opioid case. Miigwech.
Okay, where am I looking?
I kind of read the scripts.
Just as long as I don't get the double chin thing going.
Hair, makeup, lighting, you do it all?
Do I smile? Has everybody else been smiling?
I don't know what to say.
Can we start that one over again?
1, 2, 3.
I'm gonna put this right in front of your face. Don't be offended.
Let's start again.
Okay, I gotta start over.
Okay, let's start.
What's going on?
Miigwech, Happy New Year.
That was awesome.
That took forever.
That felt good.
Miigwech for watching, and have a safe new year.